This is Comic Burrito. Week in Vampire. I'm Todd.
I'm Cole.
And I am Nick.
This week in Vampires.
Vampires.
Yeah.
Why aren't we talking about our favorite comics? Oh, there it is.
Well, it's New Vampire Day.
Yeah.
So we're just going to talk about our favorite vampires that came out today. And
Or of all time.
You don't need my top picks for the week. Okay.
Yeah, my Green Lantern will be safe till Saturday. We'll talk new comic book Saturday. Yeah,
okay.
You can just
that's fine. That's fine. We can talk about vampires.
We can talk about vampires. How's everybody doing out there? How you doing?
I feel like I haven't seen anybody in like a month. I feel like we haven't done this in a really long time.
We did on Saturday.
I know we did. I just said
it's a normal amount of time, but it just feels like a long time.
It's felt like a really long week.
And I feel like we haven't seen each other at the shop in a while.
No, well, I went early today. I got in pre-open till it was just smash and grab.
But how do you get vampires early? Isn't it daylight, so you can't go get vampires? You have to wait till nighttime.
These ones just sparkled, so they didn't have a problem.
The sparkly ones. Yeah. Are they part human? Also, it's the blade.
Yes. Yeah,
you can pick up a blade during the day.
They sparkle, but not as bright because they're
cool.
Right. Yeah.
Hey everybody. Hey Loston West.
Yeah, who's in here?
Hey, he's excited to talk to have us talk to Rodney. Trevor, who is a Wu-Tang fan, which awesome. I did not know this, and I'm very excited about that. Our guest also might have a tie to that.
Also, I do wear your gear, but usually you can't tell because my stuff is so low.
You're wearing the underwear.
Yeah.
You're wearing the Comic Burrito underwear, so
and my camera just doesn't get as low.
Oh, that too. Okay. Film Noir. How's it going?
Welcome.
Oh man, there's a lot of comments already. Hey, what's up, Nat? D. Piercy, hello.
Welcome.
Man, Wu-Tang forever. Yeah. Pants. All right, pants check before Rodney's on.
I just had my corduroys on. I don't know if I can get it up. No. See, that's.
I saw a blip. I saw a blip. It covered me.
I gotta get up on the chair. Which is it's not too bad right now, but later on it gets a little dangerous.
That was
one of these. Woo pants check.
Oh! I gotta. I'm cracking it because it's just a nice little evening. So
nice.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna have just gonna have a little.
I tried to find a vampire-inspired beer, but that is not a thing that I could find today.
No,
I was gonna get maybe like a.
Nick says he can't get it up. Yes, I will do what I can.
I mean, it's not hard to find a clip of me saying that. So
that's like it is once or twice a week.
Yeah, that's like the text tone on people's phones. Yeah.
Can I get all three of you with the woo for a screen grab? So here you go. Enjoy. That's first.
It is. That is the first try woo.
It is the first try woo. We I think our first W was Jared Lujan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because also huge Wu-Tang fan.
Favorite member is Ghostface.
Let's talk our personal. Oh no! The heck? Oh well. Apparently, I don't have a blank one. Personal picks of the week. Blade, Angel, and David from Lost Boys. Because those are the best vampires.
My list might beg to differ.
Oh, it's the same list. It's a different list.
Oh.
Yeah, I got Tevin. I have Count Von Count, and I have Gangrel, my favorite member of the Brood. He's easily my least favorite, but he's the most looking like a vampire one.
Nick, do you know who Gangrel is?
No.
He's a wrestler.
That's not.
He was a vampire, dude.
He had a vampire gimmick. Like he would drink blood on his way out.
I'll allow it.
He's as much of a vampire as Count Von Count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you telling me Count Von Count is not a legit vampire that is real?
A vampire.
He's not real.
He's as real as you believe he is.
I think didn't he like shave his teeth to look like he had fangs in real life?
No, they were fake.
Okay.
I think that was like a weird rumor thing. And then Nick, your top 3 is
Blade. David, also still from Lost Boys, and Grandpa. That would be from the Munsters, the old Nick at Night show. If you're unfamiliar, I had to explain at least 2 out of 3 of these to my wife. So that was one of them. Mm-hmm. Well, she hasn't seen that movie either, and I'm like, I haven't
seen Lost Boys.
No, and it's like my favorite vampire movie ever, and it's not on any streaming services, so I'm gonna have to just like buy a Blu-ray, I guess. I'm just gonna have to
I've got
bite
it on
the bullet
Netflix, and it's every 6 months.
See, there it is.
So I did have Count Chocula, but I subbed in Gangrel last minute because I thought.
Yeah, that's what I thought your last. That's why I was so confused, because last I knew Count Chocula. Although if I knew you switched it, I might have taken Count Chocula. But when you first asked me my top 3, I couldn't think of a single one, and then it got hard to narrow it down.
We're going back to the old days of fighting over picks and stuff, and you're like, I need Count Chocula. No.
Yeah.
I picked the ones that were most good.
I just picked the best ones. But that's fine.
Yeah.
It's how it is.
Lost Boys is so good. Anyways.
Speaking of
what is everyone else's favorite vampires?
That, and also speaking of Blade and Tevin, you know what's interesting about both of those characters?
What's that?
They've both been written by one of the same writers. I don't know if you... Yeah.
Really? Huh.
Huh?
We should get them on the show.
We should. And maybe in like a minute, they'll be on the show. It's quite the possibility. Yeah. What's everyone's favorite vampire out there?
Apparently, Rizage is an NODB are all vampires.
There we go. So that's his list. He's done. I love it.
Oh, I'm on the... There we go.
We do have one agreeing with you that Grandpa Munster is the best.
It's a good pick. It's a solid pick. It's a solid pick. That was a great show.
Oh, I agree. So I think the consensus is Blade is the best vampire.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's the
Count Van
hashtag.
Count's probably close
There's
second.
Barnes for Blade, yeah. Or I mean, I have a couple issues you could pick up. Also, if you go into the description of the show, there's a series that he might feature in.
Well, that's because there's the people want him for the Marvel, the new Marvel thing, the new Marvel. Is it a movie or show? He might know.
Let's find out.
We should ask him.
We should. So, we can get these off of the screen.
Yep.
So, without further much ado, our drive-through for our first drive-through of our This Week in Vampires. Rodney. Yes. Rodney Barnes.
I love the graphics, man. I love the graphics. It was worth it.
There it is. Yeah, you got what he came for.
I think so far, he and Gangrel has been the best reference. As I was waiting backstage, the Gangrel thing was fantastic.
I was really jealous when he came up with it.
Yeah, because
I was like, oh, that's really good.
And I also called Edge Blade. I was like,
I
said Christian and Blade were too good looking, but I meant Edge.
I was at one time considering becoming a professional wrestler, and I actually worked out with that guy. Forget his name. I just know him as Gangrel. And so that was
That's
the part
awesome.
that made me smile. That was the part that made me smile.
Amazing.
So there you go. We're off to a good start.
Rodney, hey, we got new information. You're a big Gangrel,
What's up, guys?
which is cool.
Yes. There aren't many of those left.
No,
It's
not a big.
to be the best one. I remember he wrestled the Undertaker, and the Undertaker was on a big cross, and he was going to bite him or something, which was kind of an oxymoron because vampires are supposed to not like crosses.
Yeah.
So the fact that he
he's
put him
already
on
undead.
So yeah.
There was a lot of problems.
Yeah, there's a lot of
The 90s were weird.
It's probably really cool though, right?
Oh yeah, it was still cool.
Yeah.
Let's try not to make it logical.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome.
I wish I knew where to start.
Yeah.
I adore
can ask me.
so many things of what you've done.
I was going to give you my favorite vampires.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes,
Started. I mean, you guys start doing a thing, and I feel like
yes.
I want to be part of the thing. Well, I was going to say Count Chocula and Blackula, but I guess they're kind of the same thing. So there's that.
That's number 3.
That's number 3.
Both of them
together.
Yeah, both of them. They're kind of like both the same thing, except one is a cereal, but he's chocolate. The Christopher Lee, the Dracula, from the Hammer films, that one.
Yeah. Christopher Lee.
I forget in the movie Near Dark. I forget the leader, but I thought he was kind of cool too. Let's just say all the vampires in Near Dark.
The whole cast, the ensemble,
the ensemble of vampires. Let's put that there. Let's say all of them. But
awesome. Yes. I'll put that in post. I'll have another graphic for Rodney.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Yeah. Now I feel like we're all family now. So I'm good.
Yeah.
Yes. So for those uninitiated, if you go to the description, you can check these out in more succinct fashions. But we've got in Rodney, we have the author of Killadelphia, which if you're on our channel and you haven't heard about Killadelphia, you are on mute with us constantly. We've got Quincredible from Lion Forge.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Falcon, the Marvel run, which is amazing. If you have, I don't know if it's on the Marvel app because that's not how I have it. If it is, that's the easiest. Just pick it up. It's also in trade paperback. You can grab it. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. There might be a reference.
Lando.
A couple references. And then Lando. Those are...
Which is also on the Marvel app.
Oh, man.
If you got
it's the first Star Wars book I've ever read.
What is your favorite of those? Just kidding.
and why isn't there more of them? Would be my real question.
There's a lot more coming, Lord willing, if there is a 2021. There's a lot more stuff coming. I would say Killadelphia, not because it's the current one. I'd say because when I look at the others, all I see are the mistakes. There's seemingly less and less of them as I go on, which gives me encouragement and a will to live. But so I'm going to say Killadelphia for now because it's the one that I'm in the moment. But I'm sure the next one you'll say, hey, which one now? And I'm going to say that one.
Yeah.
Because I'll then hate Killadelphia at some point.
Do you really think you'll hate Killadelphia at some point?
No, because I don't think Killadelphia is going to end anytime soon if Jason and I don't kill one another, which is possible. We could be an incredible Dateline episode. And you guys could be in on it.
That would be that would be legendary in the comic industry.
Well, we go back and forth. We go between just deep and passionate love to abject hate. So there's this extreme. There's no middle ground. And in a moment of reactive passion, I could kill him, or he could kill me. I think it's easier for me.
Yeah, you don't want to admit anything preemptively
Not, this is all theoretical.
Keep it right. Yeah, we're keeping it very bad. Yeah.
You guys are going to edit this, right? You're going to edit. Edit.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yes.
It is funny because I think Jason on Lost in Comics, the interview.
Yes,
I've seen a few on him. He can confirm that there is so much love and so much hate.
Oh yeah. We don't need. And the Lost in Comics guys, they're like marriage counselors for us because they talk to both of us and they try to get us to make peace. And they're like, "Oh, you guys love each other," and he's like, "Yeah, I love him," and I'm the same way. Yeah, I love him. Yeah.
Is it like a brother love at this point? Then, like, yeah, I love him.
It's like a stepbrother kind of Hansel and Gretel. I'd put him in the oven for the,
Then you get out.
Gotta love it. I'd make it back to wherever we're going with the breadcrumbs. It's that kind of love, Yeah. I wouldn't like put it on high. I'd let the gas get him.
That's nice.
Oven thing.
Oh,
so yeah.
A little bit of love there, then.
Yes. Oh, a little bit.
Yeah. No, a nice death.
Yes, a nice death.
That's what's important.
Yeah, that's really important.
That's all you can ask for.
How about Lewis? How you get along with Lewis pretty well?
Oh yeah, I get along with all of them. Jason and I are the most intimately involved because we live a mile from each other, and this thing started with us. So all of the ancillary people, Greg Tumbarello, our editor, Marshall Dillon, the letterer, Luis, all of them, they're all like safe because they're not in the house with the bickering parents. And we're in the house together. And so they don't have to hear us argue and fight. And then make passionate love. And then the comic book comes out. That's sort of how our relationship works.
Jason's not going to like show up suddenly in the window behind you, is he?
No. I wish that would be like really creative of him to do. He would send me a text with an egg coming at me.
Yeah.
He fights via text.
It's like Today's Show when people have signs, except it's all hate.
Exactly.
He's taking credit for the whole series on a sign in the background.
I did it all.
So I do like that this is like your favorite one because I feel like as you read, because I read chronologically the works that I mentioned, and it was interesting because it wasn't a lot of prep, but what you get from all of these books, or at least a majority of them, is I wrote down a few themes that I think went through them, is class warfare, which tied in controlled through fear. Like control through fear is a large thing through a lot of it. Choice is an illusion, and redemption and death seem to play big roles throughout all of these, but in different ways. It's not like it was like the same. Redemption and death means a lot more in Killadelphia than it did for like in like Falcon, let's say.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that though. It's a little you're spot on that those themes seem to reoccur because they're in my head. So I would add maybe like forgiveness. I think I see in a lot of your stuff too. Forgiveness, whether it comes to fruition or not. Yeah. When I'm in Dateline in the last 5 minutes, when I'm asking for forgiveness for what I do to Jason, that's the theme. But I all of those themes are sort of interesting to me. Fear is a big one in comic books in general. Because you've got good versus evil, and it seems like it's a reoccurring thing. So I like to add those ancillary thoughts, around to try to add something else to talk about. But it's a cathartic. Writing comics can be cathartic if you go deep enough within yourself and you try to find the things that matter to you more so than just writing. I think the mistakes I made in Falcon, and certainly in the first 3 issues, I was just writing a comic book. I was so excited. The 8-year-old in me was like, "Oh man, Falcon, and maybe we can put Captain America in." And Twitter has this way of telling you when they hate something. It's odd that you can just open up and there are these little numbers on my phone. There's your name on it. And, actually the criticism, because it's weird in comics, like I work a lot in TV and film, and immediately you've got producers and studios and networks there to sort of put their hands in the stew to kind of make it what they want it to be. And in comics, you're sort of, on your own for the most part. You have an editor, and to lesser or greater degrees, that editor, according to who it is more or less hands-on. But when I had no experience, I had no experience. I was no different than anyone else coming off the street, except I had written stories. I wrote stories for a living, but the relationship between words and art and, pacing and all of that stuff, crickets, and fortunately I've been able to do it for a hot second now, and I think it's getting better and better and better. So there you go.
So were you getting that negative impact right off the bat, like while you were still writing Falcon?
Yeah, it took 3 issues. It always takes 3.
Yeah. So you're on 4 and then there.
Yeah. But when 3 hit, like right after like that Wednesday, that Thursday, because books come out, of course, on Wednesdays. That Thursday after 3, there was this one guy. I want to meet him one day. I want to take him to dinner. When the world opens up, he screen captured all of the stuff he hated, and he just put it there. And he had a conversation with the world about how much he hated this book and how much he hated me. And I was in a movie. I don't know why I was in this movie, but it was The Post with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep.
It's a good movie.
So I'm sitting there in this movie, and my phone is jumping in my hand because I'm paranoid, because I'm constantly getting notes from someplace about something. And I keep looking, and it's Twitter, and it's this guy. And he's telling me how much he hates the book. And I can't believe it. It's like, hey, who would take their time out to tell someone how much they hated something? But under his criticism was something that actually he was right about. And it helped me sort of take a step back from the doing of the thing to actually consider some things that I hadn't considered before. And I think it was very helpful in making that book better and me better as a comic book writer.
What do you mind if I ask? Like, what did you glean from that? Because I mean, I can see it gets more polished, and you definitely get definitely more of a feel for Sam as your arc goes on. But also, that seems kind of like a natural progression for a writer. It's not like you had written Sam Wilson a lot beforehand and like got to jump right into it. Like 1 through 3 being a feel, and then like being like, oh, okay, this is my Sam Wilson, this is what I'm running up to. It kind of makes sense.
I think there was a duality of I always look at issue 4 as being the first book I'd ever written, because 1 and 3 was sort of me figuring out, me as writing comics. What I took from it,
it's my favorite issue of the run.
Thank you. For me, it was more of, I was writing it from the outside in and not necessarily from the inside out. And I think 4, I was writing from, you could look at issue 4 and you could look at Killadelphia and you could see a relationship between the two. You look at 1, 2, and 3, and I'm trying to find my way through what I'm trying to say. I had an idea of what I wanted to say, but I was approaching it like I would approach a TV show. And I was approaching it from how the dialogue would be spoken via actors, not necessarily a panel of art. And I remember when I first turned the script in, and one of my editors said, it's so many words, it's ponderous. And I got the art back, and you almost had to move the words out of the way to see the art because there was so many of them. So I spent like a day just taking the words out so that you could see the art and what's absolutely necessary. And that's how much of a novice I was at the time. And I think just having to go through, okay, instead of just, and I was still operating from, again, I wanted to honor the idea of Falcon and Sam more so than write a book, if that makes sense. It was like, I just didn't want to mess up. It's like playing, I don't know if any of you have played sports before, but it's like I wasn't going out on the field to win. I was going out on the field and hoping that I could keep the score close. And it was that type of thing. And by the time I got to
the podium, it didn't need to be first. You just wanted to show.
I just want to, I'm in the league. I'm doing the thing. I don't want to mess up. I just want to do a solid job at this thing that I've loved my entire life. And once all of that sort of kind of washed itself away and I was able to relax and take a step back and actually start to write, that's when it started to be fun for me. That's when it started to, I'd already had my guy on Twitter. It couldn't get any worse than that unless he came to my house and shot me. So, or Jason gave me my address and he came by to shoot me. But other than that happening, it couldn't get any worse than that. And so it was funny because Axel Alonso, who was at Marvel at the time, I met him at a convention and it was right after I got in the job. And he said, "Oh, you're Rodney Barnes." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Prepare to be hated." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I haven't even done anything yet." He said, "Oh, you'll see." And he was absolutely right. And once that all passes and you get to a place of, I'm just going to try to write the best story I can possibly write month after month after month, I settled into this is what it's going to be. And, I love comics. I never would want to do anything to, disparage the craft or anything like that.
Well, I think you're about as far away from that as possible. So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Elevating the craft is where you're at this point. So
I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
Have you ever reached out to that guy recently just to see how he's doing or anything?
He actually, it was a line of dialogue that I wrote, and he changed his Twitter name to that line of dialogue. And so he kept changing his name, and he kept moving. He was a moving target. So no, I haven't. But if I did, and I'm sure he's out there, I'm sure he's waiting.
probably watching right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love you. If you're out there watching, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. That was criticism that actually helped. It hurt, but it helped. So,
I mean, critics make you grow. Me telling you you're doing awesome and like it's great. It's nice. I'm sure it feels good. I'm not necessarily making you a better writer.
No, well, in a way, yes,
you need both. Yes. You need both because you need to keep going.
Yeah, but no, you need to people that you're right. If 100 people say that they love what you do and one person says they hate it, that one person, that voice is the loudest in your mind. But that doesn't negate that 100 that give you hope and help you stay on the path and stay on the journey of doing the thing. So I take both with a measure of appreciation.
Did you ever get any kickback from Star Wars fans? Because I feel like they have to be some of like the angriest.
I was actually, after the Falcon thing, I'm thinking, okay, the Star Wars people will literally come to my house and burn it down. And they'll all be dressed like stormtroopers when they do it. No, actually, there were people who dug it and there were people who didn't dig it. The one thing that I had that was working in my favor was there was the Lando that was Billy D. Williams and there's the Lando that's Donald Glover. I'm doing the Donald Glover version. So since I'm doing the Donald Glover version and that one doesn't have as much history with, you can do what Star Wars is, I can kind of do what I want and be forgiven because I'm just doing a Star Wars story. And there would be people who like the classic, Lando, and, God bless him. I love that version as well. But that wasn't what I was doing. And the thing that I was doing was sort of kind of new. So I was able to escape relatively unscathed.
Now, I guess I don't know because I don't read those stories in general. Did they continue on with a different writer, or is it something that you can potentially go back to and do more of?
No, I'm.
Or are those kind of closed and done?
That was because it was a prequel to the Solo movie, so that adventure is done. I don't know if Yes, I saw. I don't know what they're planning to do, but I hear that there's going to be a Lando TV show. So with a Donald Glover, that character. So if that's the case, I'm sure you'll see more of them, whether or not I'm doing them or not. I've read an article. I don't know if he's been cast, but I know that's the one that they want to do. So I don't know.
I keep
there's a lot
of that in my Community made Donald Glover like so endeared to me, and then Childish Gambino being one of the best acts that is on the planet today.
He did a great job with it. He did a really great job. He really breathed a lot of life into what the other idea of Orlando could be.
Which makes sense. You get more humble as you grow old. I thought it fit really well. Like, this makes sense because this guy had to do well to get to where he is, which means probably if he was younger, he was probably kind of a cocky little shit. Like,
there you go.
It kind of makes sense because he's probably got the skills. And when you have skills and you're in your like 20s, early 30s, you're probably a little shit.
There you go. By the time you get in your 40s, you say, okay, I'm going to die one day.
Right.
So let me refine the thing. Maybe you don't say it out loud like I just did, but, you tend to think that way, or at least I do. Maybe I'm projecting a thought that I'm thinking.
I did want to put this up because I saw this, and I have to agree. That was...
Thank you, White Comics.
Yeah. That was, that hit hard.
Thank you very much. Thank you
very much. And even the first issue and like the sixth issue, there's some like scenes in both of those where like I definitely for sure had some tears up on that too. So
I appreciate that. I mean, I think again we go back to that guy that was critiquing me so hard. Once you start writing from your heart instead of your head, I think the quality of the work gets better. And, that's sort of what Killadelphia is, beyond all of the political themes and the social themes and the class stuff. At the end of the day, again, it comes back to the real stuff that we have to endure as people and trying to connect to that and not necessarily give answers, but speak to an ideal of what I would like life to be. Just forgiveness, like Nick said.
Yeah, I feel like when I read a lot of your stuff, I get kind of two stories in one, where I'm getting like a cool vampire story, but then I'm also getting kind of like, it's not like an opinions piece, but I'm getting like life knowledge and truths and little snippets. I think I said on Twitter, through my reread, I noticed that Killadelphia especially, but even some of your other books, is a book that I find myself constantly like, I either read something or I see one of Jason's beautiful drawings, and I have to like pause my reading and kind of like, it makes me kind of meditate, I guess, on just life things in general. And it's not something that I really get from a lot of books, especially not multiple times per issue. Like Cole said, like beginning and end of certain issues where it's just like one little line just tends to hit me in a certain way and just kind of stops.
Thank you. I mean, that's certainly the goal. When I remember trying to pitch this for over a year to Jason, and he was like, vampires, man, everybody's done vampires. What's the difference? And I was trying to convey to him that there's this, there was another quality I wanted to bring to, there's an idea about immortality, that when you see vampires, all they really do is lust for blood. It seems like that's the thing. They wake up at night and they stalk around and they look for victims. And I was like, it's got to be deeper than that if you have immortality, but some semblance of a memory of who you were when you were a human being. And what if the trauma that you had gone through didn't disappear? That when you were in your coffin or when you were walking the earth, you still had that echo of who you were as a person within you. And trying to unpack a lot of stuff, and you have eternity. It's like we don't have eternity, but vampires do. And what if you had to be haunted by that your entire existence? To me, that added another dimension to the idea of a vampire beyond just being a monster. There was an empathetic quality that you could kind of find within him. Like he's still a threat to us as, someone who drinks our blood and kills us and turns us and does this thing that we're not signing up for per se. But what if the vampire had something going on within him as well that was torturing in a way, and you had to walk through that forever? And so, and I think a lot of it had to do with, in psychology, they say that childhood trauma is a lot of what informs us as adults and how we make decisions in life. And I was just taking that idea and saying, okay, what if that just extended out into forever? At a certain point, you may even forget what the trauma was because you've been around 200-300 years, but the habits that formed the behavior, that part was still there. Like if you had chosen to push your feelings down with addiction, either drugs or alcohol or whatever, you may have forgotten the trauma, but you still remember the pain. And the pain is the thing that you're trying to push down. What if vampires had that same thing? What if I had to walk through 400 years or 1,000 years with that same burden on my back? To me, that added another degree. And I have to say, I've been influenced by Anne Rice's books, and Salem's Lot, the same thing as well. Yeah. You've got your genre there, and the thing that we've come to from Bram Stoker and everything else that's been written up into this point. But you also have this modern day infused idea of what our lives are, and trying to combine those two into something that's a little more meditative and thoughtful is the goal. So
it's great. I love that. And it explains why these characters, even after all this time, aren't healthier.
Yes.
Yes. They're not really. They were given so much more time, and they're still just as messed up as they were when they turned. And then it also makes sense. But then you see the extreme, like Jupiter. Mm-hmm. I get it. That is a person that I don't think you fix. Like you. Yes. I don't know how much time you would need, but it's more time than I think would be possible on Earth, because that's just breaking beyond belief.
And he's ruled by anger. It's like Jupiter in particular is the anger of the past. And that more or less came from, you get a lot of discussion about race and class and how history has informed how we live today. And some people say history has nothing to do with where we are today. Some people say history has everything to do with where we are today. And I wanted to try to bridge that gap between how history has influenced, from my perspective, today's world. And what better way to do it than to deal with something who doesn't die, who's had perspective from the beginning to now as to what what our American society has been and how it's evolved over time. And so that's sort of how history has played a role too. People look at it from the political stuff because I'm using, iconic political figures, but there's a human element, I think, that gets lost sometimes when you canonize the idea of who a person is, that person is just larger than life. But at the end of the day, they were just a person, and they have the same loves, hates, feelings, fears that all of us have. And taking into perspective both ideas, that you are dealing with a founding father and other historical figures, but also the humanity that used to lay within them that still kind of echoes into today. Again, trying to blend those two worlds and all of the stuff together. When I'm sitting down to write, that's always what I'm thinking is, how can I take yesterday and make it today, and somehow build a parallel between today's world and yesterday's world at the same time.
I just wanted to be a little easy to do. That's one of the kind of the bummers, is sometimes it's really easy for it to seem real today. Like it's like, oh yeah, that fits.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
Fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, I think the thing is, the idea of America is so ambitious. It's so, when you look at if you've traveled any place else in the world and you see the big differences between America and every other place, and the idea of capitalism and the ambition that's under capitalism in order to make it, that drive to be something and someone. And now you have social media where everybody's life is perfect when they post those pictures, and this is how you're supposed to be. And we all have memes about how we should be, and that's all surface stuff, because sometimes when you meet the people, they aren't really living that perfect life that they're purporting themselves to live, and not everybody has the answers. And a lot of people creating an image of themselves because they're trying not to look at the pain and the trauma that they're dealing with in their lives. And I certainly know my life hasn't been a straight line. I've dealt with massive anxiety, massive insecurity, and still to lesser or greater degrees deal with those things today. And I think trying to create a book that's about truth while still being genre laden and still being creative and fun and fantasy and horror at the same time. It's all of that kind of gumbo that's in there of trying to make it all work.
Yeah.
And just to bring back, when you had mentioned, like, when Jason was saying, like, let's not do a zombie thing, there's too much, the like chats just went crazy over like if you don't like if you don't like vampire books, just read this.
I was like, did I miss a book?
Yeah, no.
I think Jason's thing was there's so many vampire books, there's so many there's so much stuff that's done in that world that how can you make it different? I think that was his big thing. And when I kept pitching it to him over time, I think either I wore him down or he really liked the idea. He said in interviews before, and he said it to me as well, that I pitched it to him like 2 or 3 times over dinner. And the last pitch I said, Jason, it's a combination of Hamilton, Dracula, and Sanford and Son. And he said, okay, and there's something about the way that I guess I said it. Because before I said a lot of words, and I'm trying to sell him on this idea. But that was the thing that I think drove it home.
I'm the only person on this show that doesn't read My Little Ponies, by the way.
I have a 6-year-old daughter and good taste.
There you go. What was the question? Someone asked a question before. What made me pitch it to
was
Jason?
his style also in your mind's eye when you were thinking of the book? Is that why you pitching it towards him?
I got to know Jason.
He's amazing.
Jason, I interviewed Jason for an art book. A guy put us together. And I don't know why he chose me or Jason, but except that Jason's an incredible artist. And he put us together and we sort of hit it off. And we did just live a mile away from each other. And so we would go to dinner like once a month or so. And he would pitch me ideas and I'd hate his ideas. And I'd pitch him ideas and he'd hate my ideas. And one night he was drinking and I pitched him Killadelphia. And he said, oh, that sounds interesting. And I thought it was because he was drunk. And so I didn't take it seriously because when Jason doesn't like an idea, he immediately tells you he doesn't like the idea because usually, like I said, he's been drinking at the time. So there's no filter. It's like, no, I hate that. And he doesn't care that I'm like dealt twice the size of him and any of the alcohol and any of that, any physicality. He's not worried about any of that at the time. He's just rejecting me to my face without any care or concern about how I feel. And when he said he liked Killadelphia, I was like, that's the whiskey. That's the whiskey talking. And the next day, I think he called and he said, that thing about the vampires and the Hamilton and all of that, have you written anything down? I said, no, it's all in my head. I've been sort of, it's been evolving over the years because it's been something I'm older than you guys. And I've seen this TV show, Cold Shack the Night Stalker, and I loved it as a kid. And shortly thereafter, I read Salem's Lot and a bunch of other vampire stuff that sort of just hit me right in that spot where it sort of haunts you, where it just stays with you. And for years, and I saw Black. Oh yeah, here you go. Here's another one. Back to Count Chocula again. My mother was dating my stepfather at the time. He wasn't my stepfather at that moment. He took the first date. I think they took me on because they couldn't find a babysitter because I was a bad kid. And they took me to see Blackula and Scream, Blackula, Scream. It was a double feature. And so I had never seen anything like this before, if you can imagine. And the theater was packed, so people were screaming and jumping around. I'd been to Disney movies up until this point. This was like traumatic in a good way. And Blackula, when he became Blackula, his afro would get bigger, because I think white people were behind that part. And his sideburns,
Power.
yes. Yes, Jupiter's available. He'll eat them though. He'll eat the kids. And
I think that's probably what he's hoping for.
his afro would get bigger, and like his bell bottoms would get bigger. His everything would change about Blackula. And at 8 years old, this terrified me. This was like the greatest thing ever because I didn't give it much thought. By the time I got into my teens, I'm like, wow, really? The afro had to get bigger? But as a child, this was perfect. And it was the choice I would have made if I was a producer on Blackula. And so it's just stayed with me like, if I were to do a story like this, and then over time, other elements, started to come into it. And I shaved some things away and I added some things to it. And, eventually it became what Killadelphia became. But yeah, a lot of what Killadelphia is inspired directly by Blackula, or as you guys say, Count Chocula.
I'm glad that some really awesome stuff came out of black exploitation films of the 70s.
Yes. Oh, a lot of stuff.
And I love that this is
Great
just another
soundtrack.
one because it's things like that where these like people who like it's like, oh, you look back, it's like that's really offensive, but also
oh man,
I loved it when I was a kid.
Not when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I think it was like 1976 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
man, this was the greatest thing ever. I wanted to go back again and again and again, but then my mother married my stepfather, and they never took me to the movies again. But
that was it.
But at that moment, it was very influential. So I thank them both for that.
And it was a good run, at least, on movie selection.
Yes.
Oh man, amazing.
So someone did ask me to make sure that it was asked tonight about the Killadelphia show, because I know that I saw on your Instagram a cover sheet.
Yes, a script that took me a long time to write, but yes.
Yeah, is there any new news or anything?
The news that I have is that I've been given notes, and I'm addressing those notes right now.
Is it's picked up for?
No, it's not picked up yet.
Okay,
it's still 11 folks, and we're going through the paces of making sure the script is what all believe it can be. I'm very happy with it though, and I think that after this next rewrite, hopefully this weekend, we'll be ready to hit the new year running.
Cool.
Is it going to be fairly similar to the first trade? I know it had the same title.
Yeah, I wrote it with TV in mind. I wrote it with a TV feel. The pacing is similar to what television is. It's a little accelerated because it's a comic book, and you only get television. Either if you're streaming, you can get it all at one time, or you get it every week. A comic book you have once a month, so you've got to go a little bit faster, or you're going to bore people. So finding the right, that Goldilocks, is it too hot or too cold, or whatever, the right temperature for the storytelling and pacing has been the biggest chore of how much do you give away. When you look at, like, say, HBO, The Outsider, which I really dug because I love Stephen King, that had a very methodical pace to it, like a lot of Richard Price's stuff. But I like a little more of an accelerated pace. So there's a sweet spot someplace in between the issues and what hopefully, Lord willing, the show will be.
Nice.
So if I could give you one point of advice for the show, it would be that if you recreate a certain scene from issue 4,
that
involves a pretzel, can you make it be eaten a little bit less aggressively and normal, please?
That's a Jason Sean Alexander pretzel eating thing, and it's one of the reasons why we don't get along all the time. It's because of the way that he eats pretzels. That's how he eats pretzels. I prefer my firm sourdough pretzels. And Jason, actually, that's exactly how Jason eats. For people that want to know, both of you that want to know, Jason eats just like Josie took the bite of that pretzel. That's exactly how I eat everything that way.
Corn on the cob, just
it's very intense. It's almost like the zombies in The Walking Dead.
It's very violent.
Yeah, and you get that furrow in your brow. It's very intense. And for someone who likes to eat, it's obtuse. I would never eat that way. But that's Jason. That's not me.
Thank you.
Yeah. So in the show, no one will eat a pretzel like that. I promise.
Thank you. Hopefully they slowly break it apart and dip it. I think
they take the time, and there's etiquette.
It's like a fork and a knife.
Yeah. I mean, kids will watch this show, and they'll walk through life thinking this is how you eat pretzels. And, some poor child will just be embarrassed one day. Or they eat pretzels.
I think you muted yourself.
TVMA for pretzel eating.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, amazing. So pivoting a little bit away from comics because we also do need to talk about Wu-Tang.
Yes.
So tell us about what it's like working on Wu-Tang in American Saga, and who's your favorite member, and why is it Ghostface Killah?
Well, I'm sorry. Ghostface is not my favorite. I have a lot of respect for Ghostface.
Okay. That's fine.
My favorite Wu-Tang member is who I spoke to today, and because if he were to hear this, and I had to ask him for a favor. So he may not, in fact, be a favorite, but I did ask him for a favor. So in this moment, he is my favorite. That would be RZA, or the RZA, and the leader of the Wu-Tang Clan. The guy that I sat next to every day, or most days, because he wasn't there every day, in the writer's room, and a really great guy, a brilliant guy, and a guy I respect a lot. So the RZA. Awesome.
How is the show too?
Oh, the show. Well, there's two ideas of the show. One is that I love the music. I love the idea. I love all the members. I love how they were able to integrate like pop culture and comic culture and everything into the music. But if I never go to Staten Island again in life, I'm good. I'm good. We had to shoot in Staten Island and I think Battery Park in the winter. Oh. And it's sort of one of those crossing the Rubicon moments for me, because I realized I can't be cold anymore. I can't take -2 degrees. Just can't do it.
That's it.
And I remember being on set, and in between takes, I would look for a place to hide that was warm. And I said to myself, Rodney, how much longer can you do this? And it wasn't very, very long. But
so the next one's gonna be Red Hot Chili Peppers, so it's like Southern California.
There you go. Well, the Lakers. I'm doing the Lakers show, and we're shooting here in LA.
There you go.
So that'll be the next one.
If he does Red Hot Chili Peppers, Anthony Kiedis will make him come to Grand Rapids in the middle of the winter. This is where I grew up.
That's great, because then we can get our book signed.
That's it.
Love those Lakers. The Lakers, I hope we get to run for 100 seasons here in sunny California. That would be
what's that show on? Is that Hulu also?
That's HBO. No, that'll be HBO.
Okay.
And
cool, I got that one.
We shot a pilot last year, but because of COVID, we had to wait. We'll start shooting in, I believe, April of next year is when we begin. So there you go.
Oh, hey, this is Jared, who was the first one to talk Wu-Tang on the channel.
Yes, Wu-Tang loves the kids.
He has very good taste in who his favorite member is.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, it sounds like Ghostface.
12 Reasons to Die is real dope.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I have an affinity now for Young Dirty Bastard, the son of Old Dirty Bastard.
Yes.
Just because I like the name Dirty Bastard, and I wish I had the balls to name myself like Big Dirty Bastard, or something like that. I just don't have that kind of courage, and I don't know if anyone would ever hire me.
If you started doing that now, though, that would be legendary. It's
please.
Like
Big Dirty Bastard.
Bastard.
Man, Big Dirty Bastard. That could be.
Oh yeah, he's on Killadelphia, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Man, have you read his stuff? Yeah, man.
Oh man, it's
Big
killer.
Dirty Bastard. Mama, give me Big Dirty Bastard's book. That's.
Well, I just like it too, because then it would just say
BDB.
Or it'd just say just bastard on the book there.
I would say bastard Sean Alexander.
Yes.
Thank you for saying. I didn't. You said
You'd get it. You got him.
You got it. You were right there. So yeah, it's already there, kind of. But
I am also, since we're off the comics things, I'm assuming COVID messed with this a little bit too, but things that make white people uncomfortable.
Yeah. There's a book by that name that I'm adapting for HBO Max and John Wells that hopefully that'll come sometime in 2021. It's an anthology series. It has a lot of genre elements to it, some sci-fi stuff and all of that to sort of help the message go down a little bit easier. But sort of like think Twilight Zone or the early Star Treks, the Gene Roddenberry ones, where you were trying to make a point, but you use a science fiction and other elements to get the point across. So
you're going off the book pretty.
Yeah, we're going off the book big time. I mean, the book is a lot of ideas, but what's under those ideas are a lot of how pop culture influenced the way Michael Bennett, saw himself as a young person. Yeah. And I'm like, why not just take the themes of that, the idea of what's under those feelings, and create stories that sort of speak directly to that, so that you can be a little bit more specific about the target you're trying to hit. And, it's a provocative title. I think the show itself is a little bit more, it's provocative, but it's not done just to kind of stoke the flames of the division that already exists in our society. It's more to shine a light on certain ideas and behaviors that sort of help keep us polarized more so than bringing us together as people. So
that's kind of been on trend with media in terms of like education, has been very much like, hey, this is just, it's what's on the tin. There's no like lilting, like flowery language for like, maybe you could be a better person if you read this. It's like, hey, this is going to make you uncomfortable. Maybe you should read it, which is cool.
Yes. And some people will, and some people won't. And that's just, what it is. But I think, I think in the end, it won't be what on the surface it appears to be. I think there are elements to it that are fun, but also I think that there's a lot of stuff sometimes when you're dealing with a polarized society that feels like it's taboo, because as soon as you start talking about it, it pushes people further apart as soon as you start talking about it. I think sometimes if you are able to take the target off of a particular individual or group of people, and you could just speak directly to the people that you're writing about within that story, people don't have the same feeling of being judged, or somehow it doesn't feel like this isn't for me. And I sort of, even with Killadelphia, I didn't want it to feel like it was a very narrow perspective. I wanted it to be as big and as inclusive as it could possibly be. And I think that show will be, if executed properly, the same.
Yeah. I think Killadelphia does that. It's not one of those things that I feel like doesn't seem outwardly like there would be a division in reading it.
No, but I think some people would jump to the conclusion, that that's what it would be without reading it. The same thing like when you approach
I don't read
vampires in general. You think
white people thing. Because it's mostly white people.
Yeah, I need Todd. Todd, I want to hire you. That I can't say.
I don't know. There's how many times Friends isn't just for white people. It seems like it's times, but
it's because all the friends are white. So it would make you think that, because if you don't see any parts,
it's a fair assessment. Yeah.
That one time Aisha Tyler comes on for 5 episodes.
Yes. You know, we had to find a black friend. It took us years to find one black friend. After
They
a
weren't
while,
even on
you
as
start saying,
permanent.
man, exactly. Like sometimes we'll have this black friend, but don't let her come to everything.
Yeah.
You know, we can't invite her to all the parties.
We're going to our extended family. She can't come.
Yes, no. Aisha, is you know who coming? And it's like, no,
No.
not this week.
It's all that. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what I think is really important too about some of the things you're writing is as the culture has gotten more woke.
Yes.
You can kind of tell from your writing that what you're allowed to just, when I say allowed, it's more like what you can get away on and actually just be normal. Like Killadelphia would have been like in the 90s would have been that book that you pick up for $2 at the shop and someone local printed. It wasn't going to be a big 2, big 3 book.
No.
And now it's Image. That's a big publisher putting this book out.
Yes, God bless him. And Jason helped bring that to life too. So I guess I can't kill him. But
that's why you got to keep him around. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
It's like as soon as I'm like, he did help us get the deal.
Yeah. So you've done Marvel and you've done Image.
Yeah.
If you could do a DC book, do you read DC at all, or do you?
Swamp Thing is my favorite thing ever. Both the Wrightson runs and the Alan Moore Totalman Bissett runs are my favorite thing ever in life. I got an opportunity to work with Bernie Wrightson on the movie The Green Mile many, many years ago, and love his work. That's what I would love to do.
Yeah. I just started Swamp Thing like a month ago. I haven't hit Moore's run yet. I'm very, very early, but I've liked what I've seen so far for sure.
It's a lot of words. I mean, it's certainly different. It's a lot of words. It's a different style for today's reader. There's a lot less words, but I dug it. I certainly dug that and Sandman. Those are my two. I love Vertigo. I love that Vertigo world, Constantine, all of that stuff, more so than anything else. I love the superheroes too, but at a certain point, they are what they are. I think
Green Lantern's pretty cool though.
Oh, Green Lantern's way cool, and.
That's going on the soundboard. Rodney Barnes saying that.
Yeah, no, I love Green Lantern. I hear the new writer of him doesn't like Hal Jordan. I was reading something a moment ago, but yeah, I love that world, and I loved Green Lantern with Neil Adams when I was a kid. The Neil Adams Green Lantern run and the Mike Grell run shortly thereafter.
Yeah,
that was my stuff when I was in like elementary school. Oh man, I used to steal. I stole so many comic books. It's amazing that DC Comics when I was a child, up to where I was like 9 years old, we had a store right on the corner, and I would cut grass for comic books, and I'd make like $5, and that was enough. Once you got a soda, you could get 4, 5, 6 comic books, and invariably I wanted 12 or 13. There had to be a way to get those other books. And at a certain point, as a large child, I figured out a way to put them up my shirt. And so, and I thought no one was noticing. And the guy found out and he banned me from the store. And he told my parents, and I got beaten. I got beaten pretty badly. But I got the books was the moral of the story. Right? Got the books. So any kids out there, I'm not saying steal. I'm just saying that I still have my Neil Adams Green Lanterns from way back then, and I wouldn't have had them if I hadn't have taken them. So I took charge.
I mean, that's the struggle we all face every Wednesday. Is only being able to afford 6 books, but then there's you want 12.
Here's the problem now. Comic books cost so much now that if you were to take 3 of them, it's a felony because right. So back then they were 20 cents, but that 20 cents was a lot, for the market. So there you go.
Are there any Marvel characters you'd like to maybe revisit?
Oh, certainly. My first,
or just Take, I guess.
No, my first job in California was on the movie Blade, the first Blade. So I would love to do a run on Blade. I like to do them like the Guillermo del Toro, where it was like it felt more like a monster movie in a lot of different ways. As much as I love the first movie, I would love to dabble into there. I know they're doing like Werewolf by Night now, and a lot of their monster theme books. I would love to be a part of that world. There you go. There you go. There you go. As well,
Rodney said it was
that's a
worth
felony. It's 11 of them, so that's a felony. So we're coming after you. We're gonna figure out where you are. We're gonna get those Killadelphia.
Oh, he's in Vegas. We already got it narrowed
well,
down.
Vegas, Clark County.
Yeah. I actually have his address, so we can.
Okay.
Please,
I'll get it to you after the stream.
Cass
is going to look out his window and some van is just going to pull up real
We're
fast.
coming to get you.
It's an Image Comics on the side.
Yes, you're like,
Robert
no,
Kirkman shows
it was
up.
just a joke. It was just a joke. No.
Oh, here, see, he already found the loophole.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
it's just 11
smart.
misdemeanors.
Yes, exactly. 11 misdemeanors. We'll make a deal with you, though. I've got a deal if you're willing to take somebody out for me.
You have to wait till you have to wait until Killadelphia's done, though.
Yeah, for the rest of it, or at least the art's done.
After Arc 5,
Then
we
it's-
can
you're
have
good.
a conversation.
Oh, is that when Scotty Young's taking over?
Yeah, there you go.
Gotta get him. It's a different.
Becomes
That's a different
like,
tone.
I hate Fairyland.
It's a big switch.
Completely different tone.
It's a very different tone.
Yeah, but
I would love to see just one random issue of Killadelphia done by Scotty Young art instead.
Let him
That would be,
let him do like issue 1. Have him do issue 1, but like a redo.
yeah, that'd be it.
it's a Christmas special. It's a
Or
very-
maybe issue
What's up,
4,
Roy?
and he can fix the pretzel thing for us.
There you go. That's
It's
it.
worse. It's just one fight.
Actually, it could be from the pretzel's perspective. And,
It's a one shot about the pretzel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the pretzel, what the pretzel's been doing. And what
Most of the thing is it rotating in a case.
yes, it sees the world. It sees the
It's a
entire
9-panel.
world. Yeah,
Yes.
That'd be a good
There's
9-panel.
vampire for one of them that just runs by. And that's it.
we could do a team up. It could be the pretzel and Gangrel.
Oh
And
man,
we could do like this whole thing with Scotty. There you go.
I mean, I'm just
You
gonna
gotta
say,
really.
if you're gonna change the pretzel, you might as well have her eating a burrito. If you're gonna go to the trouble,
burrito.
I know a good-looking burrito that would probably fit well
Or
with Scotty Young art.
yeah. Or if
really
Jason's
good
watching,
burrito.
Josie gets hungry next in issue 12. You know, it's just saying.
There was a lot of blowback about that pretzel. You guys aren't the first ones that talked about that pretzel. So
Well, I think Todd and I both love it.
I think it's great because I think it's a good character choice. She's really stressed out, so
Yeah.
she's stress eating. She's just like, ah.
they're talking about carbs in the scene and keto and all of that stuff.
Yeah, the keto line. I love it.
They never
Life's
did that
too-
in Blackula.
Life's too short life's too short not to eat carbs. Maybe that's why life's so short.
Yeah.
So good. It's a great one too. And that's why I also really like those two characters together. They play off of each other so well.
There you go.
It's like that's the perfect response to it. And then they just keep doing their own thing. I'm like,
Yep.
you guys are so good together.
And vampires chase them.
Yes, you know,
Rabid
everything
hungry
a
vampire.
romance needs.
Yes, this is true. You find out what your relationship is when a vampire comes. Do they push you down and say, here, take her, or vice versa? Or do you make it a way together? So,
An interesting change. That would definitely give a different tone to the book if
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy pushed her down.
He'd be very unlikely.
and ran.
that would be an apology that would be hard to write.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. I wouldn't
Yeah.
hate it. We got off track. Which is
I have to
fucking
ask a
cool,
question
though.
for Todd because I think he's too scared
Ooh.
to ask you this.
Oh, I'm
but
probably not, but I forget.
You
What is
mentioned
it?
Sandman, and you worked on American
Yeah.
Gods. Have you met
That's
Todd's
great, American
personal hero
Gods.
of Neil Gaiman?
Wait a minute. You guys must not. Yes would be the answer. He signed all of my Miracle Men for me. He's a wonderful man.
Yeah, he is.
I'm looking for the picture. There's a
I
picture.
think I blocked it up because I was like, I don't know if I can talk about American Gods and
It's on
keep
Instagram.
my composure.
It's on Instagram. Yes, I've met Mr. Gaiman. Mr. Gaiman's wonderful. He's as wonderful as you would like him to be. He's everything we would like him to be. He's wonderful. And Ket is his assistant, Svengali, everything. She's wonderful too.
Of course, he surrounds himself with amazing people. Of
Yes.
course, he does.
It is. It's just like what you would think it is. He's wonderful.
Sandman is. I'm not, and I think everybody who is a regular here can attest. I'm not a collector. I won't spend too much money on something. I'll look forward and I'll try to find a good deal and all that. One of the things I spent the most money on is getting my 1 through 9 original Sandman comics, because it's just, that is an
I
important.
mean, you won't buy a Tales of Suspense Captain America Black Panther for $75?
I mean, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, but yeah, I have my CGC collection of Sandman that I love and cherish. Sandman and Swamp Thing and the X-Men, the Claremont Byrne run. I have all of those somewhere hidden in the world in case after Jason kills me, he tries to steal them, because
they're buried in different locations around town. Yeah,
exactly.
So how was working on American Gods? Because that's my it's top 3 gaming books for me. It's really hard. I want to say my favorite, but it's too hard. That show was amazing. It was not the book, obviously, because you can't match what's in somebody's head that's read it like 15 times. That's not going to happen. But I loved what they did with it, and I was really happy with it when I thought it was going to be a disaster, because I was scared.
It was rewarding but difficult. It's tough to interpret something like that, as you just said. I think splitting the difference between what everybody thinks it should be, like some people have an idea that is closer to the book, some people have an idea that is closer to what the creators of the show created, and finding that sweet spot in the middle is really, really tough. But then again, within that idea of how difficult the thing can be is oftentimes how you get better as a writer, because you have to be more nimble and a producer, as you're trying to make something work. And again, finding said sweet spot. So it was tough. I won't say it wasn't, but again, it was rewarding.
So I know you showed us that Tales of Suspense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any comics that you're like currently reading right now, or even books for that matter?
Let's see. I just came from the comic book store.
As you know,
There's a Batman that I haven't read yet. Here's a King of Black. There's another story to King of Black that I can't tell you guys that involves me that you would probably appreciate hearing. I haven't read this Decrease yet.
What a tease!
I haven't read this Lock and Key yet.
Oh, the Sandman Lock and Key.
This Blade Runner I haven't read yet. Conan. Let's see, American Vampire. What's up, Scott? There you go.
Yeah, Scott watches us regularly.
So is Donnie.
The Mad Magazine, this thing. Know what that is? I can look around for more, but yeah, it's I'm reading virtually everything. Ice Cream Man. I like Something's Killing the Children.
Killadelphia.
Killadelphia. That one.
That Texas Blood. Yeah.
That Texas Blood.
Yeah, the Texas Blood.
Yeah.
The Plot.
I love
Did you read the Recount?
I haven't read it yet, but I think I have it someplace in a big stack. Here's the problem with buying comic books. It's sort of like having an addiction of some sort. Every Wednesday, I buy all of these books. I probably read a third of them. The rest of them go in a box. And I don't go in the box, like Brad Pitt. You should never go in the box.
What's in the box?
And so I stay away from the box. I just keep buying new books. And so, there you go.
So you
But
own a lot of books,
I have a lot of books.
but
A lot of books.
you write more books than you read.
Yes, that's certainly true. That's certainly true. I'm writing currently about 11 books right now. And I'm looking at the board of things I can't tell you about.
Oh, I say you can just move your camera real.
I wish I
Is there
could.
anything on there you can tell us?
Oh,
about?
the camera fell. Oh,
Oh,
man.
no.
Oh, geez. Nobody take a screenshot.
Cut the feed.
There's a Killadelphia spinoff that's coming sometime in 2021.
January.
I wish. I love this book. I love this book as much as I love Killadelphia, but you have to get a couple of books in the bank before you're able to publish.
Is it based off of a book or a character we already know?
There's a couple of characters that you know. Yes, would be the big answer.
Is it the same timeline?
Yes, same time.
Okay.
Ooh,
It's in another city though.
Talanasty's gonna be so good.
There's another city where another thing is happening, and it's really, really bad.
Something is happening in the city.
There you go.
Van
Something's
Beekman.
happening to another thing, but it's a completely different genre creature. There you go.
Ooh.
Not that one. Not that one.
Oh, okay.
They're coming back though. They'll be there, but they're not there.
We haven't talked any spoilery things, but the recent back of the books
Yes.
are real good.
Well, that goes back like four months now is when that started.
I know, but we're very non-spoilery here.
Yeah, we are.
So especially if this is pulling in anybody to read Killadelphia,
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil
And
anything.
it seems it has. I know
But
a few people.
I would say I think Trevor said that this is going to be.
Trevor just
he
ordered the trade.
picked up one. Yeah,
Yeah.
he picked up volume 1. What is it? Sins from My Father. What is it? Oh.
Sins of.
Since
Sins
of the
of
Father.
Father.
Sons of the Father.
There we go.
That
Yeah.
thing. But yeah.
Yeah, he just.
But I started my own imprint. I started my own comics company. So there are 4 books that I'm going to publish in 2021 that are all horror themed. So
Awesome. I guess I'll have to drop some stuff then.
What's the name of the imprint?
I
Or do
don't
we-
know
is that-
what the DBA will be yet because I have to do business as a different name than the original name that I had.
Old
Because-
Dirty Bastard Prince?
I wish.
Yeah,
Big
big,
Dirty
just big dirty. Yeah.
Big Dirty
Big Dirty.
Bastards.
Yeah, Big Dirty Public.
Is it going to be like through Image, or is it going to be your own total
No, it's
separate?
my
thing?
own. It's my
Okay.
own total separate.
Well, I know
thing.
there's like Skybound or whatever that's kind
Yeah,
of
no.
So
This is my own thing,
Cool.
but it's all horror and supernatural themed, and that's sort of kind of the place where I like to
is
live.
it just for you, or are you going to
They
have
do
friends
another-
show up?
Other writers and stuff.
Maybe people you're talking to when we were in the beginning of the chat.
Coming out of the box, I will be writing everything for a hot second. And then when I'm in a place where I want to pay all of those expensive names that we talked about before, then we'll see, we can get some deals and some friendly discounts and some things. But I'm excited about it. And one of the names, actually, of one of the books, we mentioned somewhere along the way. So I
I can't
can't
watch this and try and figure it out.
I think Wes figured it out. Is it
Killadelphia.
Killadelphia.
Yes, there's a vampire. That's all they need in the Star Wars universe is a vampire.
Yeah, you got what's crazy.
And of all people,
right?
Lando.
You got rights from Disney and from Image. That's both impressive. Like,
There you
good
go.
job.
Which is
Good
not-
work.
It's not easy,
Yeah.
but they're connected. So there you go.
Oh man. Well, that's exciting. And you said 2021, all permitting.
2021. All the books are being constructed right now. I've written.
Any
written a
artists
bunch.
you're familiar with, or
I don't think I can say their names right now.
Okay.
But they're all artists that people are
any
familiar.
initials that might be familiar with people, or just kidding.
Familiar, but they're ghost stories. They're
Cool.
they're all supernatural themed things.
Are they original IPs and all of that?
Original. All is original except one thing that again you guys have mentioned before.
Gangrel the story.
That'd be amazing. What a weird left field thing. All these original ones and then a WWE story.
Before he bites you. So there you go.
And are these going to be like mini maxi type stories? Are they all like going to be ongoing or?
All like they're ongoing, but like quarterly and all soft covers. So it would be like 5 issues of what a regular floppy would be into one trade, because it's tough coming out of the box just with floppies and competing with it else.
So
it's trade,
So kind of like the TKO model almost.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what Oni and Lionforge are doing now, which is going to be just doing trades and not floppies. So you would get the whole thing.
Oh my goodness, that's my favorite way. I want that to be the way that everybody does it.
Yeah, that's the
I
only.
like it. I like it once I know I love it, but it's a little bit.
I buy
It's harder to jump
I
in.
buy it anyways.
Yeah.
I just want it. I
find it easier to jump into like a $4 book, but
Yeah.
I mean, with your name on it, that's all I really need.
When I see
yeah,
when I see Big Dirty Bastard on anything, I'm buying.
Bought.
Big BDB may be the thing from this point forward that might be, AKA.
AKA, yeah.
Behind it.
We'll switch it in the title. It'll say Drive Through with Rodney Barnes, AKA Big Dirty Bastard.
Well, yeah. There'll be the explicit, explicit version, then there'll be the clean one. There'll be the BDB for kids.
BDB. Yeah.
Kids.
BDB for E.
Yeah, because Incredible is a YA book. And they would hate, they cut to, hey guys, I got to change. Let me talk to you. We need to have a conference call. I changed my name. Oh, okay. What is it? Well, listen, wait a minute. Before you hang up, this is what it's an ode to the Wu-Tang Clan. Hey, excuse me, guys, where'd you go?
And that's when Quincredible didn't get picked back up, and that's sad.
That would be sad.
Quincredible, written by Big Dirty Bastard.
There you go. I'm actually writing the 3rd arc of Quincredible right now.
Awesome. I meant to ask. There's more coming. Yeah,
there's more Quincredible. I think the Oni guys got a new deal with Simon & Schuster, I think. And February they're re-releasing the first one, and I've already written the second one, and I'm writing the 3rd one now.
Yeah, when I was doing the Googling for like getting the links, I was like Quincredible trade or whatever, and then Oni came up, and I was like, but I thought it was Lionforged, and then it's
they're one thing now.
They're one thing. Yeah,
they're together.
So that's neat. So that'll be. Oh man, that's exciting. Quincredible, for anybody who hasn't read that out there, is awesome. It is YA, but it's not like a kid's book. There is a lot there, and it gets pretty heavy at times.
I try to do an emotional thing that makes it feel like it's not just kids, because kids aren't the same as kids when I was a kid way back with horses and covered wagons. But yeah, kids are different.
with horses, covered wagons, and Blackula.
Yes,
Quincredible might be my second favorite of your books after Killadelphia. I have 3 young boys, and I'm really excited that I can share some of your writing with them. I think they're going to really dig it. There was definitely one line in that one that got me pretty good at work today too. So it's a great book.
Steal it. You should definitely steal it.
Chaos is stealing all. He's got a whole barn library.
Our libraries don't have late fees anymore, so you can just keep them if you want. I don't know how it's working out, but
they have it since I've been checking out stuff in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Chaos was a missionary before I came along and got him onto this kleptomaniac.
No, he was not.
He was a great guy.
All right.
I mean, his name is Chaos in comics, so you obviously know there's something wrong with him slightly.
You know what? If you steal Quincredible, I'll make you a deal now. If you go to jail, I'll send you the books.
So you can still read while you're in there.
You can still read them. And then other guys will steal them from you. But yeah I'll still send them.
He's not signing them, though.
No, I'll get Jason to sign. I'll get Jason to sign.
Oh,
Jason,
Jason.
Even though he didn't draw it, I'll still get it.
I didn't draw this, but I'm
I'll
signing.
draw it. He'll sign it anyway. He'll sign anything.
Yeah.
And then, and then, who's the artist on Quincredible?
Selena Espiritu?
Yes, I was like, I was hoping you would know the last name better than me. She signs Killadelphia.
Yeah, I have a big painting of the cover of Quincredible 2. It's like 6 feet away from me, but it's beautiful. She did.
Quincredible 2?
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
You guys should check that out.
No, not the actual second arc of Quincredible.
But the whole thing?
The whole thing. Yeah. This is
the volume 2.
The second issue, volume 2. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. I parkour for ding dongs. That made me laugh, and it shouldn't have made me laugh.
Because we couldn't.
I definitely have a screenshot
Yeah.
on my
Yep.
yeah.
I remember going
It's definitely
like,
on the Twitter. You put
it's
it there.
a great way to get around copyright. made me happy.
We try.
Cool.
All right, so that's the most important question for you.
Oh Jesus, is this bigger than the pretzel one?
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's
it's in
the
the same vein, I guess. You're
right.
you're making the perfect burrito. What are the ingredients inside of it?
Oh, that's easy. It would be shrimp. It would be. It's according. If I'm depressed, I need rice in it because I need the carb. Cheese, definitely sour cream. Maybe some vegetables to deal with my sensibilities to say, hey, it had vegetables in it.
Right. Make you feel better about it.
It was mostly queso, and I put some veggies in it.
Yeah, but flour tortilla, not corn, because corn is too rigid. I need the soft. Yeah, and I need the rush. I need the carb rush. I need my pancreas to say, what the hell? What are we doing? That's about it. I'm not a beans guy. I'm not the wet burrito guy. That's simple. Something simple. Thank you.
I think you're our first seafood.
Yeah, you're first. We've been starting to get some chickens out of nowhere. It just started to make rice. Shrimp is really cool. So shrimp, rice, veggies,
cheese,
sour
cream.
That was kind of in the flour tortilla.
So no hot sauce, no salsa.
Nah, I can't even do either one of those. It's like too wet. I hate the wet. Then it falls apart. It's all over my shirt, and I'm disgusted with myself. And what the hell was I doing? I could have got a burger.
That's what I like. I'm also crying.
Yeah, I'm ashamed of myself as a human being, and I've eaten this 3,000 calorie thing. And do I want to die? Don't I love my kids? And so it's like, no, it's simple. The simple, the better.
Awesome, solid, man. At some point, our year end should just be filled with all of the perfect burritos that we were told.
Well, we're just gonna put out a cookbook, right? We just gotta have a cookbook.
Every once in a while, there'll be one that I'm like, the Rodney.
The big dirty bastard.
The big dirty bastard. There you go. The big dirty burrito. If we ever put out a PDF cookbook of all comic burritos.
And yours will be bigger than everyone else's just by default.
Thank you. The big dirty burrito.
Big dirty burrito.
Right.
See, you could just tell that could be the YA. You could just tell them that's what it stands for.
But it wouldn't have the effect. I would lose whatever street credibility that actually I lost many decades ago.
When did
For burrito. Wait a minute. The big dirty burrito is coming to kick your ass. Wait a minute.
I didn't want to break it to you, but becoming a comic book writer doesn't really help. Like the
no, but
that
they don't
means
know that.
yeah, it's true. It's like hello, my name is Rodney Barnes, comic book writer.
Oh no, they don't read. They don't go to comic shops. They don't know. They have no idea. They're bad guys. They live in alleys and do bad stuff. They know nothing of this world.
I can live in alleys.
Yeah,
I love it.
I can be like. For 5 minutes, I can be one of the spookiest people on earth. After that, it's over. After that, I'm getting up and they're tearing me apart and I'm crying in a gutter. But for 5 minutes, I'm incredibly intimidated.
You're Quinn for 5 minutes, and that's it.
That's it. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Believe me, Jason wouldn't threaten me the way that he does if I was, if this was in the late 80s, early 90s. Ooh, man. Yeah. That guy. But this guy is like, no. This guy needs like a life alert after he said, do a thing and I'm on the floor and I passed out. This guy
covered in burrito because you decided to get some salsa.
It's all over. The sour cream is in the corner of my mouth. They think I'm foaming from the mouth when the paramedics get there. It's horrible. It's horrible. But that's what it would be. Utterly disgusting. That's who you're talking to now. But back then, oh man, I was like, this is West Side Story. I was one of the sharks or whoever. Tell me that.
When you're a shark, you're a shark. Yeah.
There you go. It was that. But now.
And see, that's where I come in because I have a headband in and I'm 6'2", like 215. If I don't wear all this, maybe I can look somewhat intimidating, but I wear a headband and I talk about how I know West Side Story really well.
Exactly.
So it really doesn't land.
That's not what you do. Even the snapping has taken away the credibility.
Oh, yeah. This is it.
You're a victim right there. You'll be on Dateline before Jason.
Oh, yeah. Sure. That dude rates Spawn. I've seen what he does.
Yeah. Oh, that's a dark. Jason's incredibly dark. And don't let him start drinking. Once that happens, he becomes Spawn. He becomes Spawn inside.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I might just send him a message on Instagram later. Like, are you safe? Let us know.
Oh, he's safe. Believe me, he's safe. Believe me, Jason is safe. Believe me. It's a big poster of Killadelphia right before my front door. So when I'm going out of the house with an intent to kill, I see that poster and I go, wow.
Oh man. And then Jason, I will say, while he makes some of the scariest faces, he also makes some of my favorite surprised faces.
Yeah.
Some of seniors like, oh
yeah,
faces.
Yeah,
make me like so happy.
It's just if we could get him to get the eating faces, the pretzel eating faces a little bit more.
I mean, he does a pretty good disgusted face when Jimmy's watching her eat the pretzel.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's like pointing, like, "What are you doing?"
He's naturally disgusted.
Who I like.
Yeah.
Well, oh man, I feel like we could do this forever.
Yeah.
Lol at Todd looking scary. Thank you, Chaos. Exactly. It's not possible. Maybe in some alternate dimension, but I'm wearing a rainbow shirt and a headband. It doesn't.
And you did the snapping from West Side Story.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like that snaps.
Yeah, it's like all of it. You got the wrist down and all of it.
I've done it before. Because I did football and musical theater.
Yeah, so, but no dark alleys for you.
No.
How to beat himself up.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I bullied myself. Which is funny. Incidentally, I bully myself all the time.
I don't judge anybody before.
Thanks, depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
More you know. Can we talk about the lettering? We can. I was going to wrap the burrito, but if we want to talk about the lettering real quick, we can. The letterer is awesome, and I never mispronounce their name.
Let's hear you not mispronounce it.
It is Marshall Dillon.
Marshall Dillon. And I have to get off in a second. I have to take my kids someplace. Just texted me that daddy. So yeah, Marshall Dillon, I love. He's incredible. Marshall is the nicest of the group. If it's the spectrum where Jason is at one end and Marshall is at the other. And everybody else is sort of at the other. Then there's Jason by himself. So at this end, they're the others.
The others. Jason and the others.
Yes, which would be like Batman and the Outsiders. But yes.
I would say issue 1 is such a good piece for showing what lettering can do and how it worked so well with, I don't know if it was Jason doing the cursive or if it was Marshall.
It was Jason.
It was Jason. Okay. And it's really cool how it kind of worked together really well because it was like an artist in the field while the letterer is doing this.
Some people it's funny because some people didn't like the cursive because no one does cursive anymore. And they didn't even know what it was. They were like, was it hieroglyphics? What is that? And it's like, no, it's cursive. And
I definitely asked Nick if his children
Yeah,
learned cursive
we had
in
this
school
conversation
because I was like, I feel like there was
My
always the
kids
rumor
all
that they're
learned-
not going to learn it anymore.
They all learned it. They go to public schools and they all learned cursive. So
which is
I mean, I didn't test it to have them
But
read Killadelphia specifically, but
in 30 years, is Killadelphia going to be more dated because there's cursive in issue 1?
Probably, but it was
it's one
in
of those-
his journal, so he's old.
Exactly, and that's kind of what's cool. It's like the more dated it gets, almost the more like
I think it'll make it better. I know people
because
that deciphered the alien language in Paper Girls.
Oh,
So, you know, they can handle a little bit of cursive.
and they can't, and even if they can't, it's one of those things where it kind of solidifies how he's a part of a generation that's above where the current is. Like,
Right.
because we're pretty well established in Jimmy's perspective, not necessarily because we bounce. There's obviously exposition from everybody, but it seems like it's Jimmy's story to tell for the most part, and it makes sense because once kids can't read the cursive, it would be like they're trying to read something that's from, I don't know. It all of a sudden can become something more than just, oh, my dad wrote this journal. It's like, oh, he's so foreign to me that I can't even read his writing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
So
I like it.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you.
For joining us.
This
Holy
was
cow.
fun. Again, I apologize for not living up to the billing of,
It's better than you said.
Stop.
We started off,
Incorrect.
we started off with Gangrel and Count Chocula and Blackula, and we may have raised it up a little from.
I mean, we came back to Gangrel too, so.
We did come back to Gangrel, and
when you release that story about him, we'll have you back on. We can talk about it. I'll just be thrilled. I'll drink a cup of blood and spit it in the air.
In the name of Cole, Gangrel will be eating a burrito. In the way it'll be a different artist. It won't be Jason. It'll be he'll be doing it properly is what we're going to do. So there you go. In the name of you guys, and you'll all be in it, dying at some point.
Yes.
that's just
Awesome.
that's all we want.
That's our favorite thing.
Die in the comic.
All we want is
I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Jason killed me. He tries to kill me in every issue, but he had my Brittany. The Brittany in Killadelphia is my actual Brittany, who I have to take out. She's my actual daughter, and he had one scene of her ripping my head off as a cop. I'm a cop, but he did it so disgustingly that's how Jason wishes he could do that to me. Because it was overkill. You could have killed me without ripping my head off like that. You had to go that far.
So your daughter's in Quincredible too, because it's Brittany Barnes.
There's another Brittany Barnes. So Brianna
on his phone, it said Brittany Barnes, and I was like,
let me put it.
Cool.
Brianna, my other daughter, is in Falcon. She's the one that Blade has to take away that becomes the vampire. So there's Brianna and there's Brittany's in each. So there you go. I try to put my kids in everything, so when I'm in a wheelchair, they won't point me towards a wall or push me out the street. And at some point, look, I loved you. You're in that. Yes. That's me. And that's my.
That's awesome.
Who loves her. And because Jason is just very sick and twisted. And that's my. There's my Brittany there too. And there you go. And if you went to Falcon, you would find Brianna. And there you go.
Nick?
I don't have it on me right now. No.
Oh, good. So
well,
good.
thank you. That's
Thank you so much.
And hopefully we'll be able to do
thank
this
you.
again.
Oh,
everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Rodney. Everybody, thank you for joining us for This Week in Vampires.
Yeah.
I'm Todd.
I'm Cole.
I'm Nick.
I'm still Rodney.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Gangrel. I'm Count Chocula.
And this has been Comic Burrito, This Week in Vampires. Have a good night. Bye.